In today's video, I'm going to share with you a complete LUMIX S9 vlogging guide. This will be all the stuff you need to start vlogging with this particular camera right here. I'm shooting this entire video on the LUMIX S9, including this talk to camera piece. Now, I'm using the kit lens right now, this 20 to 60 millimeter kit lens. I'm going to talk about how that lens performs for vlogging on an S9. We're also going to test it out with a few different prime lenses as well. So depending on your budget, you can pick the right thing for the job, but just know this is a killer camera. I think it's one of the sleepers when it comes to the LUMIX lineup because of its size and portability. Has great in-body image stabilization. You get a 3.5 millimeter input socket and a fully articulating touchscreen that you can actually see when you're outside. So it's a great little camera. I love this camera so much that I ended up buying this black one that I'm shooting with right here. So they're fantastic cameras. I'm also going to run you through how to set these up for vlogging as well, and some of the modes and menu settings that will work to your advantage. So let's get into it. Whether you're buying a blue, red, black or green LUMIX S9 or any other color, the first thing I would recommend is getting one of these SmallRig grips. These attach to the bottom of the camera. Now, without this particular grip, the camera feels a lot more clumsy in the hand. So if you're, say, shooting in a cold environment, and even if you're just handling the camera from the bag and putting a tripod on the bottom, having a grip makes it feel so much better, and I wouldn't use this without it. Anytime I've traveled or anytime I'm doing vlogging, I leave this on. Another benefit to this is we get a 1/4 screw point on the bottom, so we don't need to take it off if we attach a tripod to the bottom, which is great. It stops the camera getting scratched and all that kind of stuff. But this would be an absolute no-brainer. It's the first thing I would recommend, irrespective of if you plan on using this handheld or not. This SmallRig grip really makes a huge difference. Let's talk about the all-important mini tripod. I love these. I've had them for years. I purchased a few of these. These are the Manfrotto Pixie tripods, and these connect directly into the 1/4 screw point on the SmallRig grip here, or directly into the camera that I just showed you before. Now, the benefit of this particular tripod is this is a Manfrotto one, which means it's a good quality tripod. Manfrotto is a pretty solid brand when it comes to tripods and accessories, all that kind of stuff. As you can see, it's nice and screwed into the base of the cage right now, but if I need to angle it back towards me, all I need to do is push this button in, set it up to however I need it, release the button, and that's it. And now it's positioned in a place that's not going to move. These are so solid, even if I shake this, you can see that it hasn't moved from its position. And even with the weight of the lens on here, it's not going to be a problem. So I would highly recommend these. You can buy tripods that are longer or extend, but it's just more things to worry about. The lenses I'm going to showcase with this, you won't even need to worry about it. So the smaller the better, and this is no exception. Let's cover a few of the lenses I would recommend. So if you're thinking about getting an S9, see if you can find it with this lens right here. This is the 20 to 60 millimeter f3.5 to 5.6 kit lens. Now, a lot of the S9s will now come with the 18 to 40 millimeter lens, and that is smaller and lighter than this one, but this is a much better lens overall. Not only is the image quality better, but it's faster on the wide end, and 20 millimeters is basically perfect with this camera for vlogging. So if you're thinking about getting a kit lens, I would spend the extra 50 or 100 bucks or whatever it is and get one of these as opposed to the 18 to 40. It's a much more versatile lens, especially for video. I think the image quality out of this is excellent. It's not to belittle the other lens because it is smaller and lighter, and if you're not too worried about the look you're going to get, then the 18 to 40s are still a solid choice. But I love these lenses to the point where this is my main travel lens. I actually use it. That's right, this is a killer. If you're looking for a more premium look and you can afford this guy, get this. This is the 18 millimeter f1.8 LUMIX S series prime, and I'll link this down below. This is my favorite prime lens for travel. It captures a super wide field of view, and even if we're using the LUMIX in-body image stabilization with E-Stabilization On, which crops in a bit, you're still getting a plenty wide field of view that looks amazing. This is faster as well. f1.8 means it's faster than the f3.5 found on the kit lens, so you're going to get more background blur, more subject separation. It's going to work better in low light, but if you want more in focus, you can stop it down. And prime lenses inherently look a little nicer to the eye than most zoom lenses. It's subjective to everybody's opinion, but that's my opinion on it because it's my video. But if you want the best look, I would highly recommend this lens. Anytime you see me talk to the camera outside in the field and I've got a super wide field of view, I'm using this. Anytime I'm testing the in-body image stabilization on a LUMIX camera, I'm using this. Most of the vlogging stuff you've seen on the channel as well, I'm using this. Now, if you're new to camera equipment, a prime lens means you only get one focal length. So this only does 18 millimeters, which is wider than this shot that you're looking at right now. Whereas the 20 to 60 millimeter lens will give you everything from 20 millimeters on this wide end all the way into 60. So 60 millimeters, let's go in, goes in all the way to there. So that's crazy. That's 60 millimeters. I just have to move back a bit. So that's at its tightest focal length. And that's at 20 millimeters. So you can see the big difference in versatility of this kit lens, which makes it a really great option. The tightest focal length I would choose when it comes to vlogging is this. This is a 24 millimeter f1.8 prime lens, and this has 24 millimeters as well. So 24 is right about there. And once we add the E-stabilization, you're going to see that it's going to crop in more. So that's 24 millimeters at handheld reach, and this is 20. So 18 will be even wider. Let's test them out. Let's do a vlogging test using the LUMIX S9 and this 18mm f1.8 prime at f1.8. This is with the E-stabilization set to standard. And as you can see, I get a really premium look, nice shallow depth of field, all that kind of stuff, and excellent in-body image stabilization. And this is just on standard mode. The biggest benefit that this lens has is if you, say, walking over some really unsteady ground, you can switch it over to high, or if you need to run with the camera, you can switch it to high and it's still usable. I'll show you that now. This is with the E-stabilization now set to high, and as you can see, it's cropped in quite a lot. I'm holding the camera in exactly the same position, but I'm going to get excellent stable results whether I'm walking or running with the camera now. This does a really great job. So yeah, if you're looking for, I think, the most versatile prime lens for vlogging, this 18mm lens would be the way to go. Let's test out the 20 to 60mm zoom lens with the E-stabilization set to standard, and already this feels great in terms of its field of view, which is why I think this lens is the way to go. Now the 18 to 40 is much lighter, and if you're looking for something light, if you've struggled with your shoulder or whatever, then get the smaller lens. It will give you the same field of view that you saw before on the wide end, just without the same sort of look. But this lens, while it is slightly heavier than the prime lens, both the 18 and the 24, it's super versatile if you're ever just behind the camera, or if you want to take a photo and zoom right in, you've got that flexibility. But 20 millimeters here is super versatile, even with the E-stabilization set to high. So let's take a look. And this is with the E-stabilization set to high. While it's cropped in, it's still kind of usable in a pinch, but standard would be the way to go. And now we're over to the 24mm f1.8 prime lens, which would be the tightest focal length I would recommend on the LUMIX S9. The reason why is that because of the electronic image stabilization, it has cropped in a little bit on the corners, and I've got my arm positioned in the same comfortable way as before, but you can see just how much tighter this field of view is. I think this lens looks really premium. It gives you an excellent look, lots of background blur, all that kind of stuff, and it's nice and light, but it's just a little bit too close for comfort for me. I prefer a wider field of view, and if you ever plan on using the high E-stabilization, this almost becomes unusable, and I'll show you that now. And this is the 24mm f1.8 with the high E-stabilization. You can see just how much it's cropped in, and while the stabilization is going to be epic, it's way too close, unless you want to vlog like this. Awesome. Yeah, I dig it. This might be the new look. Let me show you quickly how to set up the E-stabilization. Now, with the camera in the movie mode on the top, which is the one with the little camera icon, hold down the D-pad in this position. So you're just going to hold this down for a couple of seconds. It's going to bring up this particular menu. Now from page 2, we're going to E-stabilization video and hit menu set. Now when we tap this button, you can bring up your E-stabilization and either set it to standard or high. This is so much easier than going through the menu. And in video mode, this essentially does nothing anyway. So you can map controls to the camera to make life easier, and having E-stabilization on at the tap of a button here is the way to go. When it comes to capturing good quality audio, I don't think you can go too far wrong with any wireless pack like this. This is the Saramonic Ultra, and while these aren't the cheapest pack out there, they give you the best audio quality without having to do anything. I'm all about efficiency, so for me, it's about getting the best quality thing I can get at any particular price point without a whole lot of work in post-production. And these are very versatile microphones, but they won't be for everybody. Some people who like to vlog love using microphones like this, which are called shotgun microphones or on-camera mics or whatever you want to call them, and they just plug into the 3.5mm audio socket on the camera. But the big disadvantage to these type of microphones, whether you're talking about 7 Rhymes or Rode, or even this little MCO Plus, which I would recommend if you're on a budget. It's a great little shotgun mic, is the fact they only work well if you're in close proximity to the microphone and if you're also facing it. So a wireless mic like this, I could hold the camera wherever I like or face in any direction, and I'm going to get great quality audio. And you get a second transmitter as well, which means you can have someone else mic'd up if that's ever helpful for you. They pick up far less background noise than these kind of microphones, which pick up all the noise on the side they're facing, you and everything going on behind you, which is why personally I don't recommend using these shotgun microphones anymore for vlogging. Now, if you're in the studio, these can work okay. You can plonk them on top of the camera, but if you're in a really sort of echoey situation, they're going to pick up that echo as well. And if you don't already have all the editing software sorted out, or if your software doesn't even have echo cancellation on it, then you're left with audio that might not sound that great. And sure, it can sound okay. Some shotgun microphones can sound awesome in control conditions. I don't think these are very usable anymore for any type of vlogging, which is why I don't recommend them, and I'll show you the difference. All right, have a listen to how this wireless pack sounds going into one of my LUMIX S9s right now. I'm going to move all the way back from the camera like this, and it's still going to sound exactly the same. And this is the shotgun microphone, the Rode mic on top of my other LUMIX S9. So you can get a good sense of how this sounds. Don't worry too much about the video quality. Obviously, I'm using a different lens on this camera than I am with that one, but odds are you can see just how drastically different the audio quality is. Now, if I was to move somewhere where there's a lot more noise behind me, if I was closer to that road over there, the actual traffic sound would be so much louder than you won't even be able to hear it on this microphone. So this is much more isolated than these on-camera ones. And again, if I turn my head around and talk, the audio is not going to sound as good, right? Whereas if I'm, behind the camera like this talking, and I want to capture something that's happening, and I've got a wireless mic on, it's going to still sound exactly the same. So these wireless packs definitely get the advantage. Another reason you should go for a wireless pack, whether it's the Saramonic Ultra I'm using or the Rode Wireless Go 2 or their Pro version, is you can also have internal backup recording on the transmitters. So you can plug them into your computer and get 32-bit float audio, which means it's unclipped audio. It's going to sound great. And if you forget to plug the cable into your camera, or it's not quite in properly and you've lost your audio with a conventional shotgun microphone, you have a backup right here, which is killer. It's such a great feature. You don't even need to run the transmitter if you just want to hit record on the transmitter, as there's a record button that's on there. So these are great. The Rode Wireless Go is also a fantastic option. The Saramonic Ultra has the best wireless transmission reliability I've tested of any pack. It comes with this little antenna if you need it. I can go like 200 meters back and it's still going to work. But the audio quality on the Rode stuff is fantastic. I really like their products. I own a bunch of their mics, but I just feel like the Saramonic Ultra is the best tool for me personally. It's the easiest, comes with a charging case, all that kind of stuff. I've reviewed so many different wireless packs. If you want to check out my playlist, I'll link that down in the description. Let's say, for example, you want even more isolated audio than a conventional transmitter has built into this particular microphone. Then you can also get a lavalier microphone like this. Now, some people connect these directly to the camera for some unknown reason, but the way to use this is with this transmitter, and I'll switch it up right now. I'm just going to hook this up right here, but essentially now I'm using this lavalier microphone. The cool thing about lav mics is they're more directional than the omnidirectional microphone built into these transmitters, which means they're going to pick up less noise around you and it will have a more focused sound with less distraction. If you're doing a product show, for example, a lav microphone would be the obvious choice based on the fact it's not going to pick up as much around you. Now, you can hide this under your shirt if you need to, do all that kind of stuff, but I've just got it right here for the sake of this video. But you can have a listen to the difference between this and the onboard mic. And back to the Saramonic Ultra's built-in microphone. As you can see, I'm using the Wind Furry because I'm outside. I should have had this on the entire video, but I forgot at the start. But basically this helps just cut down any wind noise. And whether I'm walking around or whatever now, it's going to sound fine. I've used this microphone plenty outside with this Wind Furry. It does a great job whether it's windy or not. So just leave it on. As you move, it creates some airflow around the microphone. You just want to make sure it's not going to give you that really sort of annoying wind noise that ruins audio. Audio is as important as great video, or even more so. And if your audio sucks, people aren't going to stick around. It's just one of those things. So invest in the best piece of audio equipment you can in combination with this camera, and you're going to get killer results. If you want to adjust the volume in camera, all you need to do is go from this first option down to the first microphone, and you can set it up here. What I found is this usually works best with wireless packs, especially around -15. Just make sure the audio never goes into the danger zone here. So you never want it peaking past the yellow. Anywhere in the red, it's going to sound terrible. So yeah, keep it in the green around -12 to -6 and you should be good. If you find the audio levels a little bit too hot, you can change this standard to low, and this will reduce the 3.5mm input even lower. So yeah, you've got full flexibility over the sound options. If you're wondering which picture profile to choose if you're going to be shooting with this camera for vlogging, I'm going to give you a few to get started. So this is Vlog. I don't recommend this for beginners unless you know how to add a LUT in post-production and then also do some color grading. We're going to start with natural, so let's switch it over. What you're looking at is the natural picture profile. This is with the auto white balance setup and just the standard exposure mode on the camera active. So this is basically all on automatic mode, and this is the straight out of camera colors you can expect. So if you just want to get a great sort of natural look, pick natural. I think it looks awesome. If you're going to be shooting in a high contrast situation, flat also works really well, and that's what you're looking at right now. This is how it looks straight out of camera, and now you're looking at it with some adjustments made in post-production just to correct some of the highlights and shadows and give it a little bit more contrast. So this is a pretty simple profile to edit in post-production, or of course you can customize it in camera. It's got all of that capability as well, but I just wanted to show you a few of my favorites. Over to Cine D, which is great for shooting short films or anytime you want to get more of a cine sort of look straight out of camera without doing anything. Now, being that it's a bright blue sky today and lots of sun, it's probably not going to look as good as it would on an overcast day. So save Cine D for those situations where it's maybe not quite as high contrast as today, but it's a really cool profile. This last one I want to show you is called Portrait. If you like a really colorful look with also really flattering skin tones, this is a really great choice. And again, this is straight out of camera. I've done nothing to this in post-production. When it comes to vlogging, I really like using this particular codec right here. This is 4K 10-bit 420 at 72 megabytes per second, 25 frames per second. Now, if you're in North America, you'll have other options in here, including 24p and 30p. I prefer to look at a vlog shot in 30p than I do at 24, but it's all up to you. You just get a few more frames, it looks a little smoother. But for people in Australia and PAL region areas, just set it to this option right here, 25p, and it's going to look great. Now, if you want the most amount of color flexibility, you can go into the MOV container here, hit yes, and then you've got all of these extra options. And 422 10-bit is listed right here. Again, if you're in North America, you'll see 24 and 30p options with the 422 option, which is great, just gives you a little bit more color information. Again, it doesn't really matter unless you're shooting with Vlog. And you go all the way up to this option here, which is 5.9K with a 16:9 aspect ratio. So that's huge. This means you can crop it in post without losing resolution on a 4K timeline, providing you don't go in too far. But yeah, again, this is a really great option as well, but I think most people should be happy shooting, 4K at 25 or 30p, for example. It's going to give you excellent results. All right, let's wrap this video up. I'm going to give you my final thoughts here. So if you're thinking about getting a LUMIX S9, I would recommend the 20 to 60mm kit lens if your shoulder can handle it, and if not, get the 18 to 40mm zoom lens, that little guy. That's maybe the most practical lens in terms of its size. I just find it too limiting to get the look that I'm going for. I'd prefer this 20 to 60 at the expense of a few extra grams, and the end result out of this combination is killer. It really is. So yeah, I would highly recommend this 20 to 60mm kit lens. If your budget can handle it, get the 18mm f1.8, and between that lens and this kit lens, you've got yourself a whole lot of coverage you can use for anything, between talk to camera pieces like this to handheld vlogging. It's just going to work and give you excellent results. When I was in Japan last year, my main vlogging lens was that 18mm f1.8. When I was in Hawaii, I used a mix of this 20 to 60 and the 18mm f1.8 with this camera, and the results look so good. It really does. It's awesome. Even if you're shooting 4K 50 or 60 frames per second with that APS-C crop, the 18mm is still going to be wide enough in most situations. Maybe not with the high E-stabilization on, but it's still going to give you an excellent look. And the autofocus on this camera is excellent with all of these lenses, so you don't have to worry about it. I can walk out of frame, come back in, and as we've seen a million times, it's just going to work, which is killer, even with sunglasses on. Can't take them off out here. It's too bright. But anyway, if you've got any questions, leave them down below. I actually read my comment section and I reply as often as I can. So if I miss something or you want to learn something about, you know, one of the modes in the camera or whatever, just let us know. Now, if you're new to the LUMIX S9, I've also done a full walkthrough guide on it. You can find that video up in the cards and you can watch it after this. But again, the LUMIX S9 is one of my favorite cameras. I'm almost thinking about maybe moving another camera on and getting another one for a multi-camera setup coming up, because they're so light for travel. They're killer. I love these cameras. Anyway, let us know what you think. Thanks for watching. Catch you soon. See ya.